don't think you know anything about hairstyles. Our communities.
We'll talk about it again. So I told y'all so.
Our culture.
I am a Sam Smith, and I will be Sam's representative.
Our story.
It's also not a requirement for you to agree.
Our opinions.
This is the Culture Report. All right, everybody, welcome to this week's Culture Report. You know, we got a little bling on the table. We got our cowboy hat. Why, you might ask? Because it's Renaissance Week. It's finally my turn to see my cousin Beyonce in both of our hometowns, Houston, Texas. I will be going there on Saturday. It'll be a good time. Alexia already experienced it. Oh, here's a little sneak peek. This isn't the outfit, but here's a little sneak peek.
You got to get this one too.
Yes.
Oh my. This is a little sneak peek. I'm not giving y'all all the outfit, but this is, I know the boots right now are giving cowboy. It doesn't match the hat. Thank you for my friend Chris for this. He gave me this during my birthday party. But I know it's not matching. I know like the top half is giving like dark academia, and like the bottom half, it's like wannabe dark academia.
We'll see the outfit
and then the bottom half is giving like
We'll see the outfit though. We'll see
cowboy. You'll see it later.
It's coming.
This right here that I'm wearing now is giving like gay cowboys first day at Hogwarts. Like, you know what I mean? It's iconic. But anyway, we'll get to that, and I promise you guys will hear all about it when we do. It's going to be a great, great weekend. Anyway, let's get into it. So, since the prime era began at the University of Colorado, there's been chatter of whether head football coach Deion Sanders is trying to turn it into an HBCU, which stands for Historically Black College or University. So clearly that's not something that could ever happen, but from the bands to the celebs and even the faces in the crowd, things are really changing in Boulder.
I'm not really thinking about the economical impact. Really, I'm thinking about the social impact. I'm seeing more African Americans than I've ever seen before, sprinkling throughout the stands and the stadium and at restaurants and everything, and I absolutely love it.
I love it too.
I was about to say, I
And
love
we need it
too.
because the population is so low. What is it?
1% in
My
Boulder.
goodness.
1% of black people, like of the population in Boulder, is black. First, let's clear things up. No, you can't make UC Boulder a HBCU because one, it's not historically black, clearly.
Absolutely not.
So no, but it can be influenced by HBCU culture, and I think it has for the best.
Yeah, I've seen it. Obviously, we have all
Yeah.
these celebrities coming in town. We saw Lil Wayne. We saw
Offset.
Yep.
It's all good, but it's also like making them, break records too. And
Economically, he said he's not worried about the economic impact, but that's such a big deal.
But it is because the front row tickets are like $15,000.
Yes.
For a college game, that's
I
crazy.
know that is insane.
And this, like, I don't know that UC Boulder has ever gotten
CU
this.
Boulder.
CU, oh, my bad.
CU Boulder, baby.
CU Sports. CU Boulder. I don't know that they've ever had that kind of attention on them before. Like, just seeing everybody come.
I think last year they only won one football game the whole season.
And
so.
this time they sold out all of their season tickets for the first time in 27
Yes.
years.
People are
This
coming
is
from
insane.
all over the country to see. Even my parents wanted to see. They did not because it was sold out. But like everybody wants a little taste. Everybody wants to support my theory is they just want to support Deion Sanders.
I think so too. I don't know if they care about the team that much, but
I mean, they do now that they're winning.
I mean, I guess now that they're winning, but if it wasn't for him, no one would have
No,
cared.
that's why all the celebrities are coming. That's why he literally like put them on the map. Like they're the team to beat now.
Yeah, but it's interesting. He was doing the same thing that he's doing here in Jackson. So, I mean, to have it all big and relevant now, I don't know what it is.
I mean, that's another thing. I'm like, why are all these celebrities coming, but were they also showing up to these HBCUs?
Right.
Maybe girl, I don't know. Maybe like
I don't
he
know.
was moving. Maybe he was moving, and maybe they were like, oh, well, he's doing big things over here. It's different. He didn't go to a HBCU. That's expected.
Yeah.
Maybe since he did something different,
Yeah.
switched it up a little bit. He was like, let's go support. Let's show them just how much we can support and just like the kind of impact that he could have. So I think it was like the community just supporting the community.
Yeah, so speaking of comparisons, during last Sunday's episode of 60 Minutes, they profiled Deion Sanders during the segment. They decided to compare Jackson, Mississippi, and Boulder, Colorado. And people aren't happy about how they portrayed Jackson.
The distance between Jackson and Boulder is 1,000 miles, and immeasurably further culturally. Sanders went from a city that is 83% black to one that is 1% black. From a place with a water crisis to the kind of hipster college town where there's a shop devoted to kites.
So, obviously, if you don't see the problem with that video, there is a problem with it. There's a big problem with how they portrayed Jackson, Mississippi. It's
My question, well, one, like, Jackson is one of the most developed cities in Mississippi, so why would they
use those clips? That's
I feel
what
like
I'm wondering.
my question to whoever did this would be, okay, what's the point you were trying to make and why? Because I didn't need to hear that or see that.
But it also tells you the responsibility the media has, because you get to control
Right.
the narrative. And I think that's why it's so important for journalists to get out there and go and talk to these communities, like hear community voices. Because then you just know only as much as you read or as people tell you, but you need to like actually be there and get a feel. I don't know that he ever has been, from what I'm gathering. No, because there's a lot of beautiful places that I've, seen. Even just seeing the campus at the school could have been a good shot.
I mean, if they're comparing what Deion Sanders came from, like he was a coach at Jackson State, Mississippi. Like, why aren't we showing the campus? But we're showing the campus for CU Boulder. Like, I don't understand.
Showing a black man carrying water bottles to his. And first of all, what do you mean going to a place with a water crisis? Like, Colorado was in a drought for a long while. We just got out of it recently, so I don't.
Bad journalism on 60 Minutes.
Bad journalism, 60 Minutes. Do better.
I agree with that.
Who else needs to do better? The co-founder of Rolling Stone magazine. So he's been removed from the board of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Foundation. So it's in response to comments that he made about black and female artists ahead of his new book release.
The people I interview were the kind of philosophers of rock, of black artists. I mean, Stevie Wonder, incredibly, they're genius, right? These are genius artists. Maybe Marvin Gaye. I could cut Curtis Mayfield, they just didn't articulate at that level,
Well, but how do you know if you didn't give them a chance to?
Because I read interviews with them. I listen to their music. I know, to it from the music and the lyrics they write, the kind of things they're writing about. For public relations sake, maybe I should have gone and found one black and one woman artist to include here that didn't measure up to that same historical standards, just to avert this kind of criticism.
That was Jan Wenner speaking to the New York Times about the artist that he chose and did not choose to profile in his new book, The Masters. So Wenner's profiles were only of white male performers, including Mick Jagger, John Lennon, and Bono. Notable women and black performers were not profiled. So he has since apologized.
Oh, I don't know about that.
It's a little too late for that. He literally said, like, they weren't articulate enough and they weren't masters and they couldn't talk about the philosophy of rock and roll.
It's so sexist and racist. Just got to see his true colors right away.
To say that, and it's like, the influence that black people have had. Like,
they made rock and roll.
Yes, and all the people that he profiled would tell him that. Like, these are my influences. These are the people I looked up to. And I'm like, for you to not even mention that or say that the black people that we do have now are not articulate enough and they don't. He's trying to make it like academic, like this whole academic. Well, they can't talk about rock and roll. They can't talk about the nuances of it. I was like, rock and roll was born out of rebellion. Like it's like, it stems from like raw emotion, raw feeling. Why can't you talk to those people about the feeling that they have when they make music like that, or why they make music like that? Why is it like this academic, philosophical thing all of a sudden?
I don't know. To me, it just shows how out of touch he is. It really.
I mean, it's crazy that he's the founder of one of these.
Right.
Yes.
Like, where have you been? Like, these are people that are writing the music. Like, what makes you the better person? Like, to know better. Like, what makes him the expert
It's
in
crazy.
that?
It's
concerning.
Like,
It's concerning,
these people with these kind of influences they have this kind of platform, and I don't even know. I mean, they definitely should. I don't even think he's articulate enough or to like he.
And the apology, I'm like, you're only apologizing because you're fired now, right?
Yes, and he was like, maybe I should have thrown a black person or a woman in there, but I'm just old.
And I mean, granted, it is his book. You can put whatever person you want to put in there, highlight whoever you want. But he actually made it a point to say,
Yes, that's also a big point. I'm glad you said that. It's his book. He can say whatever he wants. I don't have to agree with it, and I can think he's wrong, but it's his book, and I just don't want him going around toting his opinion as fact, because people will listen to that because he has such great influence.
Yeah, well, let's hope, the magazine can come back from this, because that's a big no-no.
Gave him the boot. Anyway, we have a little update. Ashton Kutcher resigned from his role as board chairman of Thorn, a nonprofit he co-founded over a decade ago to combat child sexual exploitation. The decision comes after Kutcher and his wife Mila Kunis wrote letters in support of convicted rapist Danny Masterson. In a statement, Kutcher wrote, quote, "I have determined the responsible thing for me to do is resign. I cannot allow my error in judgment to distract from our efforts and the children we serve."
All right, and this is a picture of Janavi Kundula. She was a 23-year-old grad student who moved from India to Seattle. She studied engineering at Northeastern University, Seattle. Sadly, her life was cut short back in January. She was hit by a Seattle officer as he was responding to a call. 9 months later, the police department released body camera related to the investigation. Daniel Alder, the officer that responded to the crash, is recorded joking about Kundula's death.
But she is dead. No, it's a regular person. Yeah, just write a check. Just, yeah, $11,000. She was 26 anyway. She had limited value.
Since the body camera video has been released, the officer has sent a letter to the Office of Police Accountability saying that his comments in the video were taken out of context. The statement reads in part, quote, "At the time, I believed the conversation was private and not being recorded. I understand that without context, the comment could be interpreted as horrifying and crude."
Without context.
Without context. In one context.
It's like there's no context out there that would make that
Never.
okay at all. Like, it was the laughs. Like,
the laughs, thinking someone's death is funny.
But just to think about it, Alexia, it could have been you or me. Anybody's daughter. It could have been anyone. That is just not okay. And minorities already have a problem trusting police to come and help.
And for people that wonder why, it's like stuff like like he's not the only person that does.
He was just recorded, and someone stood up for this girl and was like, "I think we need some transparency in this police department."
Right, and apparently he was on the phone talking to somebody else who had a similar mindset if they were both giggling about it, so it's clearly not just him.
But we have to think, this happened in January. It's finally getting media coverage because the body camera was just released.
I wonder what took 10 months or 9 months, whatever, to figure out, to say, like, okay, this is wrong. Maybe the public should know about this, or maybe there should be some sort of discipline, or maybe we should take him out of his role because we see that he's not here to protect himself. Someone literally, your coworker ran over someone and killed them.
Awful.
And you're
But I feel so bad for the family too. I mean, they're seeing this video. They're obviously were grieving in January, but this is months later. This is 9 months later, and they see this. Someone laughing about their daughter being killed. Yeah, that's heartbreaking. This whole story, when I first saw the video, I was disgusted. Yeah. Disgusted. For someone to be like, "You have no value."
I feel of course, I feel like when you're in a job and you see death and things like that so much, you can somewhat be desensitized to it a bit, but this just felt like it was just fun.
I feel like we are just as journalists sometimes we are too, but I would never ever make any kind of joke like that.
It just felt I don't know, when I watched it, I was like, this just feels evil. It feels vindictive and weird, and we would never do that.
No, I still think, yes, you can be desensitized, but you still have to be empathetic to the families. That could be your own daughter that
your literally whole job is to protect.
Exactly, and so to see him laughing, I just was so disturbed watching that, guys. I just, I hope the family, gets through this, and when they get the rest of the video, because I think there's, they're saying it's out of context because it's not the whole thing, but either way, it's not okay.
Absolutely not.
And Latinos are taking to social media to reclaim the expression "no sabo" and push back on criticism over their Spanish skills. The term "no sabo" is a twist on the phrase "I don't know" and has become a term for Latino kids who have grown up in the U.S. and cannot speak Spanish fluently. In the past, the term was used in a derogatory way, but now it has gained popularity on the internet. TikTok alone has more than 644 million views with the hashtag "no sabo", and "no sabo kid" has close to 400 million.
Dice vacuum. ¿Cómo se dice waste? cintura.
¿Cómo se dice winter?
Invierno.
¿Cómo se dice wound?
Herida.
Yeah. Wound. We'll see if you guys get this one. ¿Cómo se dice wrist?
I didn't even hear.
¿Cómo se dice pocket?
I know I have to like try it.
I know these videos are like fun. It's fun to watch them like reclaiming it and using this derogatory term to turn things around. But it also opens up the debate of what it means to be Latino. I think we keep going back to this. We've talked about it in the show before. But again, I don't think the language should be what defines you. And maybe that'll show us to be a little more understanding of how a lot of these kids grew up. A lot of them, were forced to learn English. I mean, the U.S. has that history.
That's what makes me mad when I see, especially when it's a community attacking their own community, oh, well, you're not this enough, you're not that, you don't know the language, oh, you want to be white. And it's no, I would love to know the language. I'm sure, I have so many friends that they just speak English, their parents did not,
me.
Yeah, their parents, barely knew English, but that's all they would speak in the house. They wouldn't want them speaking Spanish. If family came over, it was no, don't speak Spanish. I want them to fit in. I don't want them to be treated like a second-class citizen just because they have an accent or they know Spanish.
But there's so many Latinos in the United States. We're not all the same.
Correct.
We've never been the same. One may speak Spanish, one may not know Spanish, one may know a little bit of Spanish, one may not. So we cannot be oh, you're not Latino enough because you don't speak any.
And why do you have to pick? Why can't you have both? You can be American and Mexican or Dominican or Puerto Rican, whatever, your background is, and you don't have to pick one or the other. I think a lot of people forget that parts of the U.S., they used to speak Spanish. Parts of it were Mexico. So I'm and then we're changing this whole language. And to hear people criticize and shame people, it makes me really sad to see that because I don't want people to feel more disconnected because of it, because of that shaming, to not want to learn it. I want to see videos like this and games that are coming up, for people to want to learn Spanish.
Target has some games out for Hispanic Heritage Month to learn Spanish. So if you want to go to Target, there are some games to learn.
Make it fun, right? But that's it's unfortunate that they're shaming these kids, but now we know to be a little more understanding.
Yeah, don't shame these kids.
Don't shame me.
Have you tried? Don't shame her. Leave her alone. No, learning a language is hard.
It is very hard, especially when you grow up learning one language, and then when you're older, it's even harder to learn. So
Absolutely.
Remember that.
All right, but speaking of oppression, let's move on to the next story. Here in Colorado, the federal government officially renamed Mount Evans to Mount Blue Sky. The change is part of a national effort to address the history of oppression and violence against Native Americans. It was named for former Governor John Evans, who authorized the Sand Creek Massacre in 1864. Killing at least 230 Cheyenne and Arapaho people. The name change vote was delayed by the Northern Cheyenne tribe, which uses the phrase blue sky in ceremonies, and said the name change was sacrilegious.
I'm so happy this is happening.
I know.
It feels like it's been a little trend. Do you remember over during the pandemic how people were ripping down statues and stuff? They're well, this guy was a slave owner, so let's not celebrate him. So this is great. I was they stole the land from these people, literally killed them, and then you want them to name a mountain after
seriously.
him?
I know these actions are way overdue. I mean, it's taken 150 years just to give them a formal apology this day. 2014, on their 150th anniversary, they actually apologized. But, they're making amends. There's, also policies now in place where they're giving Native Americans in-state tuition and a few other policy changes, like the mascots and teams have changed their names. All these efforts to make amends. So I love seeing that for sure.
Applaud to Colorado.
Yeah, applaud to Colorado. There's plenty more to do. Don't think we're done. Okay, we're not done.
There is plenty to do.
There is plenty to do. All right, everyone. Let's hop into our good news of the week.
Is it good news for you?
No, it's not good news. This is bittersweet news. Hold on, guys.
Oh.
This is... Alexia, I'll let you have a moment.
What's my moment? Well, I'll just say that today is my last day on the Culture Report, so I'm very sad about it. I'm sad to leave you two. Of course, we built this show up from the bottom up.
Yes. From the bottom up. Alexia was here. She was even here before me.
I know.
Literally just really trying to make this happen.
And it did, and it's been successful, and I've loved doing it. I mean, I've grown as a person, obviously. When I remember the first show, I was like, I'm not going on. I'm not going on.
Oh, yeah, she was so nervous.
I was like, I can't do it. I was in the bathroom.
She was ready to, she said, no, thank you. No,
not talking on camera.
Not on camera for me. And then, like, she hopped out here and did the thing, and she continued to do it week after week. It's been like a
I've
year
grown.
now.
I know how to read off a prompter now. Kind of.
We'll talk
not
about,
the best.
Hold on. Okay, if we're going to talk about all the things we love about Alexia, we have to, you know I like to eat. Hold on.
What are you doing?
What is Jamal doing?
Okay! Okay, everybody. Hold on.
This is so bittersweet, Alexia. You know,
Alexia
we
is a
loved having
foodie,
you with us.
So we brought,
Thank you,
our
Jamal.
lovely EP, Victoria Valenzuela, brought these sweet treats. I don't know about y'all, but I'm eating.
The vanilla.
And, the vanilla because chocolate is a no.
Yum.
Alexia, I'm just so happy that I got to experience this with you.
I'm glad to call you guys my friends.
Me too.
You
And
know,
I know you're gonna go and do great things wherever you go, but man, we're so sad to see you go.
You know, I just felt, I mean, I feel like on the show a lot we talk about mental health. And I feel like I never take my own advice. You know, I'm out here preaching to the world like, you know, take care of your mental health, take care of your mental health. And I have not been taking care of my mental health. So stepping back from the news industry, I think will be good for me, and just taking a break from work.
Tell people where you're going.
I'm going to Atlanta, Georgia.
Going to ATL,
The Hollywood of the South. You know, I'm really into the entertainment industry, so I feel like that'll be a good opportunity for me. It's a big city. I can grow. Denver I didn't feel like myself in Denver, so I'm happy to go somewhere where I feel like myself. I've been to Atlanta multiple times. I'm always happy there, so that's why I've decided to move on.
Oh, I can't believe this is happening. If you guys, I just wish you guys could know Alexia personally. She's so amazing. She's so sweet. She's so nice. She's always down for a good key. Like, she always makes me laugh. Like, she is so unserious, and I cannot. She's just as unserious as this show. So thank you so much for being a part of this. We love you so much. I have a little present. Oh, I know you have things to do, and I know you have to pack, but we're gonna go see Tori Kelly tomorrow.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I know. That was a surprise. We're gonna go see Tori Kelly.
Oh, okay.
Alexia really wanted to go, but we couldn't get tickets.
I didn't know that.
Jamal makes things happen.
We make things happen around here. We're going to have such a good time. I'll be sure to take pictures and videos for you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Best of luck, Alexia.
Best of luck. Anyway, thank you for joining.
And thank you guys,
the Culture Report. We will be back very soon to continue the conversation right here on 9 News Plus and 9news.com. Oh, we love Alexia. Cupcake cheers. Oh, here.
Thank you.
Cheers. Cheers. Let's get a photo. And one more. Oh, love that.
Okay.
I didn't know that.